What if? What if, just for a moment, you could hit pause on your life? What if you could stop the whirlwind of thoughts, the endless to-dos, and truly be present, connected with everyone here? I want to invite you on a journey with me to reimagine our relationships. I see that we are all physically present, but I want to make sure that we're mentally present to this talk as well. So if you can, settle into your seats just a little bit more. And let's explore, what does it mean to truly pause? Human connection is essential to our well-being. And in an era that is demanding faster responses, we are oftentimes putting an emphasis on the quantity of our communication versus the quality of our communication. There's no doubt that we have amazing tools at our fingertips. Chances are your phones are not far away from you. We can text, we can send emails, but oftentimes these interactions leave only the illusion of genuine connection. As a professor of communication studies and a coach to very successful entrepreneurs, one might assume that I possess all of the qualities needed to be amazing at building strong relationships. And I'm happy to say, maybe from the outside world, that that's the impression that I give off at times. Those closest to me know that I struggle to be fully present. My mind is often wandering. Don't get me wrong, I can excel at pseudo-listening and pretending that I'm fully present in conversations, but this has cost some of my friendships and some of my relationships of not being fully present at times. I want you to imagine that you are in a conversation with a friend, and they are thrilled to tell you some exciting news that is happening in their life. And you're sitting there and your mind is wandering. And you are thinking about something else, occasionally checking your phone. And then they tell you this exciting story. And you respond with a very distracted, "Oh, that's nice," without actually hearing them. Chances are that friend notices and their excitement diminishes. They know that you're not fully listening to them. The reality is, it's not so much about missing out on that one story or the details. It's really about, over time, this creates a slow eroding of trust in that relationship. I confess that that is my story and that I have been that friend. But I also know this: that is not the way that I want to show up in the world. And I've had the honor and privilege of working with thousands of clients and students. And I recognize that when we are fully present in our relationships and our conversations, we can transform our relationships and create meaningful, deep connections with one another. Great. So I know all this, and I have years of theory and knowledge, but I was still really struggling. So knowing all this is one thing, but for me, it was really about, what kind of framework can I use to help me to be more present in conversations? It wasn't until July 2nd, 2021, where I experienced a very profound shift that gave me the tools to be able to make a change to this problem. On that day, I was given a framework and an idea that I want to share with all of you. July 2nd, 2021, I decided to accompany my fiercely independent mom to a doctor's appointment. She did not want her 40-year-old daughter going to the doctor with her, but I insisted. She had this nagging cough and this persistent fatigue that had me really worried. We got to the doctor's office and we weren't really getting those clear answers that we wanted, and so they recommended that we could go to the emergency room. So we get in the car, we head over to the ER, and they took my mom back right away. They started running all these tests, doing blood work, and then in that typical emergency room fashion, it was just hurry up and wait. We're sitting there waiting. I remember we were so exhausted from that day. I was holding my mom's hand, and the emergency room doctor walked in. And he looked at us, and he had this very somber look on his face. And he said, I'm not an oncology doctor, but it looks like you have pancreatic cancer that's metastasized to your lungs. And in that moment, everything paused. My world stopped. Plans evaporated. At the time of her diagnosis, I didn't know how long I would have with her. 41 days. I had 41 days from diagnosis to death. One of the things I haven't shared with you is that my mom and I had 40 years of a very strained relationship that was often marked by a lot of misunderstanding and hurt. However, during that time, what we couldn't heal in 40 years, we were able to heal by using the framework that would later become P.A.U.S.E. When I talk about P.A.U.S.E. with all of you, I'm not thinking of just a traditional pause, but I want you to reimagine P.A.U.S.E. as an acronym. P standing for being present in our conversations. A for demonstrating appreciation. U for understanding. S for support. And E for elevating. There's two things that I want you to know about this framework before I actually break down the acronym. The first is, this is a framework that's not just for times of crisis. It really is a guide that we can use every single day in our interactions with others, and even with ourselves. And the second thing is, it starts with you. It starts with me. By taking this acronym and the principles for this particular framework, you can get a better understanding of yourself, which allows you to be more available to create deep, meaningful conversations. All right, so let's talk about this acronym. The P stands for present. Are you truly present in your interactions with others, or are you distracted, merely offering a fraction of your attention? There are so many things competing for our attention, and when we are not present, we miss out on meaningful connections. Recently, I was inspired by a colleague who posted an experiment on social media. So I thought, I'll do that. What I did in the classroom is I asked students every single time they got a notification on their phone, come up to the whiteboard. You have permission to interrupt my lecture. And I put the following on the whiteboard: text, Instagram, email, Snapchat, X, formerly known as Twitter, and random. And then I said, every time you get one of those notifications, come up and record a check mark. In a 60-minute class, there were 117 notifications. That's one notification every 31 seconds. The sheer volume of distractions was shocking, but as you can imagine, it left very little time for an actual lecture by people walking up there the entire time. The next letter in P.A.U.S.E. is appreciate. How often do you appreciate your own humanity and the humanity of others? Look around you right now. There's chances for connection and belonging, even with the people in this room. When we express appreciation, it can be as simple as a smile that communicates, I see you, and you matter. When we don't demonstrate appreciation, our relationships suffer. So finding gratitude in our conversations and gratitude for ourselves. The next letter of this acronym is all about understanding. How often do you listen to truly understand versus simply reply? Understanding is about active listening. It's about grasping the perspectives and the feelings of the other person. It's about going underneath the surface and figuring out what are those underlying emotions that are existing there. But again, with P.A.U.S.E., I'm going to challenge you and myself to say, what am I feeling? If I don't know how I'm feeling in a conversation, it's not likely that I'm going to show up fully and be not only present and appreciate, but truly understand the situation. The next letter of the acronym is all about support. Support is focused on giving and addressing a current need. It's about offering assistance and validation. When we support one another and ourselves, we build trust in our relationships and create a sense of community and belonging. The last letter in this acronym is elevate. I love this one. So when we think about elevating our conversations, this is about the question that guides this is thinking, how often do we truly set intentions to inspire, motivate, and uplift others? Elevate is all about going the extra mile. It's about doing something unexpected. It's about saying to someone, I see your value, I see your potential. And it's also about elevating ourselves, doing something nice for ourselves, recognizing our accomplishments. When we elevate ourselves and others, we create a ripple effect of positivity and connection in this world. There's a lot to this acronym and a lot to this framework, but what I can tell you too is that just practicing the P for being present or the A for appreciate can significantly enhance our relationships. We don't have to do all aspects of pause in every single interaction. But if we can just at least do those P's, the P and the A, it helps us to be more connected in those conversations. I want to explore, though, if we do use the entire framework, where can we take our relationships? And that brings me back to my journey with my mom. July 2nd, 2021 is a day that is etched into my memory forever. What started as an ordinary day ended with life-altering news. We had only 41 days to heal a 40-year span of hurt and misunderstanding. P, I was present. I made a conscious effort to put down my phone, to look into her eyes, and to let her know that she was seen and valued. Appreciate. Every day, I express my gratitude to my mom. I even learned to love the very snarky tone she would use when she would say my full name, Elizabeth. It's actually something I miss. By appreciating her, I humanized her. And I got to see her as more than just my mom. I got to see her as a woman of strength and resilience. Understand, it was probably one of the first times that I didn't feel defensive in conversations. I just sat there and I got to hear her. I got to ask open-ended questions. And I got to learn her fears and her hopes and her dreams. And she did that for me too. Support. I got to offer assistance. That came in a variety of ways, but I got to even learn how she wanted her coffee made the very specific way every single time. Sometimes it was practical assistance, sometimes it was just a hug or being there with her. Supporting her, let her know that she wasn't alone. And then elevate. Every single day, we spent time looking for opportunities to elevate our conversation. We took moments and created recordings so that her memory would live on with us forever. We laughed, we cried, and we shared memories. There's a 41-year difference in this first picture of me as a little girl with my arms wrapped around my mom, and the second picture of me with my mom in her final days of her life. What we could not heal during those 41 years, we were able to heal in 41 days by using the framework and the idea that I'm presenting to you today. The one thing with P.A.U.S.E is that it transcends a terminal illness. It's not just for moments of crisis, but it really is a guide to helping us live a life that's connected and meaningful with one another. Even if we just practice pause one time a day, which is what I do to challenge myself every single day, even if it's just for myself, we can significantly enhance our connections to one another. I want you to reimagine your relationships and a world where every single interaction, every conversation holds a transformative power for us to connect deeply. So I invite you to think about your relationships. Are you truly present? Do you appreciate those around you? Are you listening to truly understand? Are you offering genuine support? And how can you elevate the lives of those you touch, including your own? The gift my mom gave me in her final days of life are the idea that I want to share with all of you. Let's embrace this framework. Transform our connections, one pause at a time. Thank you.